Okay, so this is going to be a quick breakdown of my latest Stormsinger life. Stormsinger is a bard, in case anybody didn't know, but you probably, if you're watching this, already knew that. So this was my actual last third half-elf life, and I thought it was pretty fantastic. I thought I did a good job on making her look good. Unfortunately, this is going to tweak because I have it on separate screens, but thought she turned out all right. Anyway, this is not a particularly creative build. This is a standard kind of caster build, a standard Stormsinger build, really. Very similar to an Air Savant, which I posted, and to my previous Stormsinger build, which I did in my Tabaxi lives way back when. But what is a little bit different, and you probably noticed it, is that she has a Dragonmark. So we'll talk about that a little bit. As it stands right now, let's go do a quick stat breakdown. Currently, I had started with a base 10 strength, a base 12 dexterity, a base 14 constitution, a base 14 intelligence, base 10 wisdom, and a base 18 charisma, which is now 26. I do have a +8 universal stat tome, so pretty predictable spread for a bard. My feats, I'll do the feats real fast because again, this is really super standard stuff. I'll collapse everything here. Not sure if I should do that. Probably put it up here so I can do the side scroller over here. But they're all just caster feats. So I'll just scroll down here really super fast. Meta magic feats. Empower healing. I took that at level 18. My first feat was maximize, then empower, then heighten, then quicken, and then at level 18 I took empower healing. I do have, I'm not sure if that counts as a spell casting feat. I do have magical training, and I do have mental toughness, so that would be another feat. And then, of course, the Dragonmark, which I took at level 12. And you're like, well, why didn't you take the Dragonmark right away? Well, it's a couple of good reasons for doing that. One of which was the fact that it didn't really work with the way the build was laid out, simply because by the time I had all the meta magics to really kind of leverage it, it was not button mashing thing. So anyway, there's a turnaround. I am wearing the pink anniversary coat in case anybody is wondering as well. So at level 12 is when I took the actual Dragonmark, and that way, because the Dragonmark is a spell-like ability, you can put all of your meta magics on it. And at first I just thought it was kind of a meme thing, right? Oh, I'm like a half-elf and the Dragonmark of Storm. Sure. So I did the thing, but it turns out that actually the Dragonmark of Storm, when you have the class and the feats to leverage it, is fantastic. And that caught me off guard completely. I didn't expect the Dragonmark of Storm to be that great, but it turns out it was. That being said, you do have to have a significant investment into the half-elf racial tree, and you have to burn a feat to get it. So I consider it, while it is exceptionally strong, you pay a lot to get it. I would not recommend this particular build that I did unless you have a lot of racial past lives to leverage the half-elf tree, and if you're looking to do something different. If you are looking to do something a little bit different, you got lots of past lives, or maybe half-elf is like at the back of the line, then maybe this is the one to maybe give it a shot, because once I had Call Lightning and you could turn it on, wow, was it ever a good time. So I'll just go quickly over my enhancements. This should be a surprise to like literally no one. Perhaps a few changes that maybe other people wouldn't have made, but this is the way I did it, just because this is the way I had everything equipped with my gear and whatnot. I'm not mousing over her because I find this washes her out quite a bit. So anyway, so my one only universal stat I put into, Brain Cramp, Fate Arc Illusionist, and then I have a couple of points in Study the Arcane, just because reasons. I think I needed a place to spend those somewhere, so that's where they went. Unsurprisingly, I have all the cores and the capstone in Stormsinger. I have the Storm Song all the way up to tier 5. I have Electrocution, max ranks. I have Pierce Electric Resistance, mass ranks. Stormcaller's Aria, your Inspired Courage grants nearby allies +9 more universal spell powers and +3 to hit. That also includes you, for the record. Ride the Lightning, because obviously you can't not take Ride the Lightning. Your main hand weapon is now considered an implement. When you critically hit with a sonic, cold, or lightning spell, you gain plus 3% dodge, plus 3 reflex saving throw, and your spell point costs are reduced by 3% for 10 seconds. That's fantastic. That procs constantly. For my tier 5s, I took Stormcaller plus 15, Electric, Cold, and Sonic spell power. Rank 3, the spell Iceberg is added to your spell book at level 6. So bear in mind that you can actually get this before you have level 6 spells, which I believe you don't get until level 15. At which point you're just like kind of waiting around. So I actually waited a while to get this. If you want the Electric, Cold, and Sonic spell power, fill your boots, but you can wait to kick that down the curb because you won't be able to get Iceberg for a minute. Storm Studies, plus 1 evocation DCs. Of course, Horn of Thunder. You always want Horn of Thunder. So that was a no-brainer. And here's a thing that I kind of learned the hard way, because it's been a minute since I had to roll one of these. My SLAs are Nyax Cold Ray, Nyax Biting Cold, and Snowball Swarm. And the reason I have these is because the other things I can actually get over here in the Spellsinger tree. So that kind of makes these more important. That being said, I found that with the Stormsinger, you do spend a lot of time kind of respecking. Like early on, like these were different. I think I had Sonic Blast over here, and I had some of these other things were different. But then eventually, when you have enough points, then you respec and you get all your things lined up, because otherwise you're going to have redundancies, or you're going to get stuck with things you never get, like SLAs for heal and stuff like that, and just like you don't really need them all that much, to be perfectly honest. At least in my opinion, you don't. So that's how I did that. And again, these are all SLAs, so you slap all your magics on those. I ran into some bizarre problems with Nyax Cold Rays. I didn't realize it is in fact a conjuration. So that like kind of puts it outside of your normal stuff. Almost everything else in this tree is an evocation. Everything in the other tree is an evocation, but for some reason Nyax is a conjuration. I don't know why that is in particular, but just be aware that its DC always tends to be lower, and stuff ducked it constantly. Like even when I had the DCs well into the 50s in like high heroics, stuff was still ducking Nyax Cold Ray all the time, like stuff that shouldn't have been ducking it. I'm like, so I think there might be some bizarre interaction there that maybe needs to get looked into, or there's some subtlety about its use that I'm missing. So if that's the case, feel free to leave a comment and tell me how dumb I am in the comments below. So over here to Spellsinger, this is my secondary tree. I took all the cores up until the capstone, which obviously I couldn't get because I took it in Stormsinger. So these are fantastic because these are where you actually get your Sonic crit. You don't get it anywhere else, but you do get it in Spellsinger. And these things are really underrated. Music of the Sewers, this pacifies vermin. Music of the Dead pacifies undead. Music of the Maker pacifies constructs. And then Virtuoso, you regenerate 1 song every 5 minutes, plus 2 songs per rest. You sing your bardic inspiration as you had 2 more bard levels. Your enchantment, evocation, and illusions at +1 your difficulty check, +1 diplomacy, listen, perform, and use magic device, plus 2% critical with sonic and positive spells. So this is fantastic. So this adds up to, I believe, +8 of your sonic crit, which is great. I took 2 lingering bard songs just so they last longer. Haunting Melody is great. You rework fascinating with haunting notes. Intoxicating and unnerving. Fascinated creatures are haunted for 60 seconds. Haunted is -2 on all saving throws, skill checks, and attack rolls. So even if they bust out of your fascinate, which occasionally happens, especially in Reaper, they still are taking penalties to their saves and skill checks. So that's fantastic. Don't overlook fascinate. Arguably, it is your best crowd control throughout the entire game. That being said, it takes a long time to wind up, but it will theoretically freeze almost anything in the widest possible area, so it gives you a lot of breathing room. So don't sleep on Fascinate. It's sort of like the forgotten ability of bards. I don't know why that is, but make sure that you've got your perform up, because your DC for that is absurd. Currently, my skill for perform is 111. That means that they've got to beat a 111 DC check, and that's 111 before I roll the D20, so that's a minimum of 112. So they've got to roll better than 112 on a D20 to beat the Fascinate that I currently have. And that's not even topped out. I could probably get that number higher, but I don't have like super endgame gear because I'm snake bit. Anybody who watched my last stream when I played this build will know that I farmed some legendary stuff at the end of that stream, and I got nothing. Like, I ran all kinds of quests and just, yeah. Anyway, so that's the thing that happened. So Sonic Blast is what I took as the SLA here. Then we go over here to Violet Marigold Crown, +1 to evocation DCs, because you want as many evocation DCs as you can possibly get. Reverberate, this is your damage over time, which is sonic damage. This is fantastic. Also, when you get Master of Music in epic levels, the damage for this doubles, so you want to get this. Again, this is an SLA, so you can slap all your meta magics on for free. Inspiration Melody, Spell Song Trance. When you use your Bardic Inspiration, you gain +1 morale bonus to spell DCs and 10% morale discount on all spell points cost to your target for the duration of the song. So I believe that stacks with the aria over here, or Ride the Lightning. Yeah, so like when your bard song buffs are up, it dramatically reduces your spell point cost. So I almost never ran out of spell points. Inspiration Melody, when you use your Bardic Inspiration, your target gains a +1 morale bonus to caster level for all spells for the duration of your song. So again, this is +1 caster level, and that's just a flat bonus. Inspiration Melody Frolic, this is always on freedom of movement that can't be dispelled. Spell Penetration, because I needed points somewhere. And of course, Sustaining Song, which is fantastic. Sustaining Song, when you use your Bardic Inspiration, you apply a temporary fast healing effect to your target for the duration of your song. You sing your Bardic Inspiration as if you had 1 level of Bard. So this is just continually healing you over time. That is free, continual healing to keep you like topped up all the time. Like all your maintenance healing completely handled. It's beyond great. So you absolutely want to take that. So that's the way I kind of spend my points here over in Spellsinger. Nothing really surprising. That's pretty straightforward. Some other people might have preferred different things. I liked it this way. And then lastly, I believe I have 12 racial AP, and so I didn't spend any additional AP in here. So I took Paladin for the saves. That's my dilettante. And then I took more Paladin for more saves, healing amplification, and then I took all the buffs to get more Dragonmark uses. The second level is Electric Loop as an SLA, which would be fantastic if it was actually an SLA. The problem is that it's Electric Loop, but you only have 6 uses of it because of the way the Dragonmarks are coded, which I think is really dumb. I think considering that because this is like triple or quadruple qualified, they should just make this an SLA and have it cost spell points, because you're never going to use this on a class that doesn't have spell points, and you're never going to be able to leverage it on a class that isn't a caster class. So why not just drop the other one and make it cost spell points? And of course, this was kind of the thing that I was building towards, which is the Greater Dragonmark of Storm, which is called Lightning Storm. I thought about for a while, maybe get Power of the Storm, which gets me 25 additional spell power, yada yada, but end of the day, I didn't want to spend any more points than I did. Also, I forgot to mention that I did take fast movement at the very, very end at level 20 over here in my Stormsinger tree, because that fast movement became amazing all throughout epics. But yeah, once you get Call Lightning Storm, you can slap all your meta magics on it. Now, the trick to Call Lightning Storm, and I promised to talk about this before, and just as a qualifier, I have 1,486 standing hit points right now and 3,273 spell points. But the reason why Call Lightning is so super rad, let's see if I can get a mouse over here, if I can remember where the heck I stuck it. That's Lesser Dragonmark of Storm. Where the heck did I put that? It's right here, right? So it says currently Greater Dragonmark of Storm. Target self, save 71. So the storm is actually centered on you and attacks things around you every so many seconds. I think it's every 3 seconds. It's an evocation. But here's the thing, caster level. Currently the caster level on my Call Lightning Storm is 40, because Call Lightning Storm has no max caster level. So all of your buffs and abilities stack on top of that. So it, like, by the time I was at level cap, I was already capped out at 32. And it was just absurd. It was just wiping stuff out all the time. I'd be running around in circles doing something, and then I'd see something in the background. It would proc and wipe one guy out, and then I'd run around again, and another guy would get wiped out. Like, it was just hilarious how useful it was. And by that time, it lasts for 3 seconds per max caster level. So right now, if I were to cast it, it would last for a full 2 minutes. It was lasting for 96 seconds, I think, right up until I took level cap. So that was really fantastic. If you were so inclined, by the time you get this, when you hit epic, you could easily have the thing up effectively all the time. You could have the thing constantly doing it, and then if you, for whatever reason, you didn't clear the quest in the 6 minutes or whatever it was, you would easily make the next shrine to rest, get all your dragon marks back, and do it all over again. I just tended to wind it up when I was like in a bunch of mobs where I couldn't dedicate my attention to wiping out everything, like the end fight at the end of Druid's Deep. I forget what that last quest is called. But I'll probably add that in a thing later. But where you're running around and he's like transformed into a bear, and he's, you know, kicking, you know, clawing at your back. With the Call Lightning Storm up, the Call Lightning is wiping out all the bards and bears and everything else, or the bards, the druids and bears and whatever else is floating around. You have to go and deal with the will-o-wisps yourself, which is why it's handy, but like the Call Lightning Storm is wiping out everything else. And then for boss fights, it's fantastic because there's the only one target. There's the boss. And if for some reason he's dumb enough to bring in some ads, the Call Lightning Storm wipes out the ads. So pick your poison. So it turned out to be really, really good. Good enough that I would say that it actually kind of puts half-elf on the podium for Stormsinger options, if not for Air Savant options, simply because statistically, while other stuff might be better, like a Dragonborn or a Tiefling might statistically be better because they get more charisma, Call Lightning Storm is so good that it's just, you have to consider it. At this point, I would say you'd have to consider it as being one of the options. Now, that being said, it costs you a feat. So are you willing to give up Force of Personality or Improved Mental Toughness or Spell Pen, or, you know, insert your preferred caster feat here to get it? In my books, having run this, I'd say, yeah, I would absolutely go back and I would give it up to get the Dragonmark because it was that good. That being said, I still think the Dragonmark needs to be tweaked. I think they all need to be tweaked in general. I think any of the ones that are adding like a spell-like ability, they should just forget the idea that they have to have a certain number of charges. That's dumb. It's clunky and nobody cares. Because again, if I could have taken a Dragonmark and had Electric Loop as a straight up SLA early, I'd have taken this Dragonmark at level 1. You know, that's the thing. And then I would have had Electric Loop as an SLA at level 1, or worst case scenario, level 3, simply to leverage, and it would have been amazing. But they took, like, that option was taken away. And again, I cannot emphasize enough that it's like triple limit. Let's count it out. Let's see how many conditions are. You have to be a half-elf, you have to take the feat, you have to spend points in the racial tree that you may or may not have, and you have to be a spellcasting class to use it. So that's quadruple conditional to make the Dragonmark valid. I think it's fair to just make it an SLA. My personal opinion, you're welcome to disagree. All right, so let's talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about my Epic Destinies. All right, Epic Destinies, where's my time at? 18 minutes. Okay, let's see if we can wrap this up quick. Nothing here should be terribly surprising either. Primal Avatar is your go-to for a Stormsinger. This was custom made for this class. So I took all the cores in Stormsinger. I took Stormcatcher, the Bat of Echoes, Always Rejuvenation Cocoon, Thunder Snow, Thrive, which is fantastic. Again, every time you use an Epic Strike, it reduces your spell point cost again, so more savings on your spell points. I ran it in the Mantle of Nature's Sky the entire time. So that was fantastic because Mantle of Nature, every time you use a spell, your cold, electric, and sonic spells have a chance to blast one target for an additional d6+6 damage per character level of the same type as the spell used. Fantastic. So as I'm going through my rotation, that's constantly going off, and it's also, all those damage types are on a different timer. So if I use electric and then use cold, they're both on separate timers before it procs again. So it's really great. Evergreen, fantastic. Plus 100 spell points. When using your Primal Avatar Destiny Mantle, your spells have a chance to guarantee 100 temporary spell points and spell points. That's odd. Your spells have a chance to grant you 100 temporary spell points for 6 seconds. There we go. I knew I'd cough it out eventually. Once you've got Evergreen, you're never worrying about spell points ever again. I don't think my spell points ever got below 90% once I had Evergreen. At the very, very end, I did take Natural Evasion. This build is a little bit squish. Ironically, it's a little bit squishier, I think, than my Air Savant, because that leveraged full base attack bonus and medium armor out of Eldritch Knight. But this one cannot. I've only got light armor, so Natural Evasion helps. So my actual armor class, let's see what my armor class was, finished out at 123, which is, fairly respectable. Considering it's a squish caster, it's not all that awful, but my MRR was very low. PRR and MRR were very low, like 95. I think this is up over 100 when I go in on Reaper. and 60. So that could definitely stand some improvement, but I don't have all of my divine past lives either. So that's something to consider. Nature's Reach, this doesn't mean anything because I got expand over here for free, but Nature's Reach, I did this just to get the 15 universal spell power. Topped up my improved meta magic maximize, so it got it on the cheap. So I think now my maximize is costing me like 10 spell points or whatever. In the end, it didn't really matter. I only had a couple of spells in my rotation that were actually not SLAs, so it didn't matter. And then I took a couple of points in improved quicken at the very end, again for those spells that I had quickened. Again, it was a nominal savings because by the end I had so many spell points and so many savings, and temporary spell points and stuff didn't matter. Tier 5s, I took +3 to spell DCs, and I took Greater Form Sky Rager. That meant practically nothing because I never used these. My obligatory 3 points just to get energy resistance out of the Divine Sentinel tree, or excuse me, the Divine Sentinel, the Unyielding Sentinel tree, simply because bards don't get energy resistance for reasons I have yet to determine. So all the cores over here in Fatesinger. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all great. I love this Strike a Chord. This was number 1 on my hotbar rotation. So just maxed that, took that. Then I took Harmonic Resonance. Weapon attacks and offensive spells have a 20% chance to build up a stack of Harmonic Resonance near enemies. Each stack increases a creature's vulnerability to sonic damage by 10% and reduces their AC by 5. So there you go. I also took Jack of all trades, +3 to all skills. Inspire competence now grants an additional +3 bonus to all skills. So that's great because that's boosting your perform and your spellcraft, which helps a lot. Echoes of Discord creates a blast of music on the target that strikes nearby enemies for d6 +1 sonic damage per character level. Scaling with sonic spell power, each chord of fate you have increases the damage by a further d6 +1 per character level. So while you're stacking up the chords of fate over here from Strike a Chord, then you immediately discharge them by using Echoes of Discord, and it does massive amounts of damage. Took Masquerade, reduces the cost of your spells by 10%, so again, more spell savings. Over here, Fatesinger Spell Focus, Evocation, 3 out of 3. I think it took Spell Focus over here if I skipped over for enchantment DCs, so 3 enchantment DCs at its core to double my Thunder Snow damage as well, so I forgot to mention that, but that's what I did over there. Master of the Acoustics, +15 Sonic Spell Power, rank 3, the damage of the Sonic Blast and Reverberate are increased by 50%. The sonic damage of your epic strikes from this tree is doubled. So that was fantastic add. And then I took Greatest Shout. This is just a Greater Shout SLA, and that you can maximize and power out the yin yang. And then Meta Magic Attunement and Enlarge. So that was pretty nuts and bolts for a Stormsinger. I mean, not really a lot to see there. So let's just keep this rolling along. Let's see. I think for my feats, I should break down my Destiny stuff. So my Destiny feats, I took Deific Warding, Epic Spell Power Cold, Epic Spell Power Electricity, Epic Spell Power Sonic. That should come as a surprise to no one. My Epic feats, I took Burst of Glacial Wrath for the first time. It does great, respectable damage. I'm not going to deny that, but it is a fantastic crowd controller because it is a fortitude save. So all the stuff that would normally duck you with evasion or improved evasion cannot duck you with Burst of Glacial Wrath. So as I found out, apparently lots of people take this simply for that crowd control effect itself. Currently the DC on that is sitting at 76. I did take Intensify Spell, Master of Music at the very, very end. I think this is the last feat I took. And then Wellspring of Power. I think that's everything. So that's pretty much it. We'll do a quick review of how my gear played out. Again, I'm not going to go into elaborate things because I beat this drum every time, but at first level, when you roll off the boat in Korthos, just whatever you got. At level 3, you put on your Saltmarsh gear. You wear that until you get to level 5. Then you put on your Feywild gear. Then you wear that until maybe level 7 if you decide that you want to swap to your Isle of Dread gear. And then after that, you swap to Ravenloft gear. And then now the difference is that your Ravenloft gear is kind of going to be what you're stuck with until level 17 when you get the Sharn Docks gear, because there's no Bard set in Sharn. So you kind of get stuck with the Ravenloft gear for a minute. But that being said, So let's see what we have. And then once you get to level 17, you get the Feywild set, which I will discuss right now. I am wearing the Feywild Dreamer set. This is the heroic set because, as I said, I'm snake bit on the equipment. I can't, for love nor money, pull this stuff in legendary. So the Gossamer Weave, enchantment 4, illusion 4, spell resistance 24, spell penetration 5, mythic boost 1. The other set is the Fakecraft Mail, so that's +5 enhancement, fortification 101, physical sheltering 21, healing application 33, and fluff life 32. I have that slotted with a sapphire resistance +6. And I believe the last one here is the Delicate Thimble Tips. Magical efficiency 5%, insightful spell penetration 3, conjuration focus 4, mystic diversion 13%, mystic goggle boost +1. Now, here's an interesting thing that you might not have seen coming. This is the Goggles of Dusk. These drop in the new Morgrave quests. The quality wisdom means nothing, but it is evocation 3 and insightful evocation +2 with quality spell focus mastery, which stack with everything, and mythic goggle boost. Those are minimum level 16. I wore these right to level cap. I didn't have anything better that was going to substitute for that, or was going to make it so that I didn't have to swap something else I didn't want, because I am also using the Epic Saltmarsh set, but before we talk about that, I have the Epic Big Top. That's Charisma 9, Dodge 9, Perform 17, Use Magic Device +3. I have a slotted with a Diamond of Exceptional Charisma. I am using the Epic Anchor Chain. This is where my cold spell power was coming from. It is also Profane Spell Focus, which is stacking, and Profane Life Force, which is also stacking. Here's a kind of off the grab. Epic Shard of the Loon. You're like, why would you want this thing? But it is Insightful Devotion and Wizardry 195. I literally didn't have a better thing to put in that slot. And I needed something that was going to give me some stacking heals, so that's what I did. Currently, my belt is the Epic Belt of Thoughtful Remembrance. I did have the Belt of Myriad Pockets up until level 27. So there's that, but that's the Epic Belt of Thoughtful Remembrance is fantastic. Death Block 7, Constitution 11, Concentration 20, Resistance 11, Dodge 11, Greater Regeneration. I have it slotted with the Sapphire of Natural Armor. This is another awesome thing. This is my Epic Salt Pearl Ring. This is actually redundant in this build, but it is Insightful Charisma, Sonic Lore, Resonance, and Enchantment Focus 4. I have it slotted with a Sapphire of Defense 24 and a Diamond of Charisma 9. My beloved Epic Crocodile Skin Boots, Constitution 9, Acid Absorption 27%, Cold Absorption 27%, Always on Freedom of Movement, Acidic Reaping. I have it slotted with a Sapphire of Crushing Waveguard and a Diamond of Strength +9. So that's both my Strength and Constitution item. Epic Ethereal Ring. This is not doing much except completing my Saltmarsh set. So that's Ghostly, Speed 30%, Dodge 9, Reflex 9. It does have a Topaz of Wizardry and a Diamond of Intelligence. So it's kind of helps my spell casting a little bit. Epic Driftwood Bracers. This is my healing item. Insightful Wisdom 4, Healing Lore 16%, Devotion 111, Wizardry 195, Sapphire False Life 36. And that is, I think, the whole set. Now, my current setup, I have an Epic Scepter of Magnetism, which I have the Electrocution Sentient set in it. So that's giving me +9 electric spell power, immunity to the knockdown of air elementals, and +5% electric absorption. It also gives me +50 electric spell power and +2 imbue dice. I don't have a 4-piece set yet, so I'm working up towards that. And my offhand is Hearthstone's Fiddle. This drops out of the Dryad and the Demigod. If you're fortunate enough to have this, great. If not, then, I mean, you can easily live without it, because I know I did up until level 29. But it does stack, so I've got this, and it stacks with my ring. Up until this point, this was actually an Epic Scepter of Resonation from the Borderlands. But once I hit 29, I pulled this out just because I could say I did it. So this has +15% orb bonus sounding on Harpful Spellcast, do an additional 4 to 24 sonic damage, which is great. Good Luck 5, which is amazing. Insightful Resonance 77, Quality Resonance 38, and Inspiration of the Inferno. So when I play my Bard song, she uses the fiddle instead of using her lute. That was fantastic. And of course, since level 1, I've had my Quiver of Alacrity on, which I could easily done without at this point, but there's nothing else to put in that slot. So here we are. So yeah, that worked out fantastically well. This rampaged through epics. The only time I died in epics was when I thought, for some reason, running through the fire spouts in Prove Your Worth was going to work. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, but I did it anyway. You can watch me do it live on my VODs. It was ridiculous. But other than that, yeah, it was just a rampage. I'm a big fan of cone-shaped spells. So like Cone of Cold and Shout and Reverberate, or Horn of Thunder and all that stuff. because I find that in DDO, because things close so quickly, you're always operating at short range anyway, so you might as well just be blasting as much as you can, which is why I love cone shape blast on warlocks as well. But yeah, it was really simple stuff. Standard spell selection, I'll go through it really quickly. Color spray at level 1 was pretty useful. Focusing chant, because why not? Merfolk's blessing, because lol. Shocking grasp, took that early on, I think, for reasons. Sonic blast I took as well, because again, I didn't have the SLA right away. Blur, cure moderate wounds I took later. Electric loop was great early on. Glitter dust, because I had to pick something. Sound burst is great crowd control until you get better stuff later. It's still useful. I still have heightened sound burst on my my bars, but I just wasn't using it all that much. Crushing Despair, because I think I had to pick a spell at one point, and this was the last thing left. Cure Serious Wounds, Displacement, Good Hope always, and Lightning Bolt, because you get it as a spell through your enhancements. So I took it. Ball Lightning is amazing until you get Chain Lightning. Cure Critical Wounds is great. D-Door I actually took at the very, very end. For most of the game, honestly, I found I didn't need it, but later on, like when you get into epics, it's very handy to have. Freedom of movement, again, I didn't need it because I had it as a song, and my major crowd control was auto sphere dancing. This is how I trivialized, what the heck do they call it? Lines of supply out in the Stormhorns. I just tossed up a sphere of dancing where the guys all come out of the cave, and that was Bob's your uncle. I think one guy might have slipped past it when he rolled a 20, but the rest of it was just nobody moved, and I just blasted the crap out of them. Chain Lightning, this is so amazing. You want Chain Lightning. I would recommend that you quicken it, though, because it is pretty slow. Cure Light Wounds Mask, because I had to pick something. Greater Dispel Magic, because I like getting rid of spell words. Greater Heroism, because buffs. Mind Fog, I had to pick a spell, so Mind Fog was it, and I never used it. Cure Moderate Wounds Mass. Greater Shout until you get the SLA. Hunter's Feast, because I had to pick something. And then Iceberg and Thunderstroke were both added to my spell book. These are both fantastic. Again, they are a little slow developing, so if you have Quicken, I would recommend quickening them, because it's not enough of an expense to really, avoid using them. Just quicken them, because it does make life easier. I know lots of people just run with Quicken permanently on, so meh. But that's it. That was pretty much the whole thing. In case you're wondering, again, I'll say it again. I'm wearing the pink anniversary team outfit. I do have my Deathwalker Sash 8. However, I'm not using it because I think it clashes. And this is my epic Elemental Victory, which I almost always wear. So yeah, I would definitely say that Bard Stormsinger, Derp, half-elf Stormsinger, has got to be on the podium for one of the better choices for a Stormsinger build, simply because of the greater Dragonmark. And that's not something I thought I'd ever hear myself say, but it's true. If it would be very hard to argue against it if it was actually a proper SLA and didn't have limited charges. But even as it is, with the limited charges, it was still fantastic. So I would definitely recommend giving that a shot. Again, qualified if you've got lots of racial spell points and you haven't tried half-elf yet, or you're just looking to mix it up a little bit, or you're just into the lore, fill your boots. But yeah, it was a really good time. Better than I thought it would work, to be perfectly honest. I thought it would be, memes, but I didn't think it would be great. I thought it would be okay at best and probably mid. But it turned out it was fantastic, so give that a shot if you like. But that is pretty much all there is to say about this build. There's not a whole lot of surprises in it, but it was a good time. So half-elf Stormsinger, I'm going to go clear out my cache and TR, and that'll be it. So I hope you got something out of this video. Feel free to come and join my little gaggle of friends on Twitch at 0930 hours, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday to Friday. And if not, then I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk to you again soon. So take care.